My name is Bill Trueheart, and I'm President and CEO of Achieving the Dream, Inc. We have offices in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I live in Washington, D.C. I started off right after college running small businesses. And while I was doing that, I was in my hometown. I started tutoring low-income students, students of color, way back then. 100 years ago, and they began to improve considerably. I worked with them in math, worked with them in English, worked with them on writing skills, and they had no idea about college or where to go. And then I got them to fill out applications to the state university in my state, which is Connecticut, and they were all rejected. So I was just absolutely disheartened and went up to the university, the admissions office, to talk to them about the rejection, because I didn't know anything about admissions. I just completed college myself, and I filled out and I was admitted. But that led, and this short story is, that led into being invited to go up to the University of Connecticut to work on what were then called bridge programs to help students bridge into the university. But it became really quickly clear that bridge programs without any other support would be problematic. So I was hired, I was asked to come to the university to not only build the bridge programs, but once I got there and I realized that it was problematic, then they moved me from admissions, which is where I started, into the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, where we began to get faculty to work not unlike what we're doing in Achieving the Dream way back then, but not nearly as intensively or extensively. And it was at a four-year university where there are a whole host of other issues that you don't have in community colleges. So my passion started way, way back. And when I saw that Illumina Foundation had initiated this effort and committed to 10 years, $70+ million, and then recruited now a number of other foundations. And then we began to recruit additional foundations. We're now 30 foundations who have committed over $130 million in private money to help public institutions, help low-income students achieve and succeed and complete. How could you not have passion? The two really founding and core and threshold values that we have are equity and excellence. And we believe that both are achievable in our institutions. And we're deeply concerned about the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And we're concerned about the gaps that have developed between students of color and Caucasian students. And we don't believe that gap is healthy for either the individuals or for our country. And we are providing the services that we're providing to the community colleges primarily in order to help them close those gaps, so that we can have a more productive, a better educated, better citizenry as a result of improving and increasing the level of education of those students who deserve to have a good education and who have, for whatever the reasons, been overlooked for many years. Well, community colleges are institutions that are committed to teaching and educating, and the faculties and the administrators in community colleges are just so inspiring because they embrace education with passion, and they want to help every student who comes into the doors of their institutions. And community colleges have a wide array of programs, from certificate programs to associate degrees, to transfer programs that permit students to go on to universities, colleges and universities, and to continue to succeed as they choose. But community colleges as institutions are the gateway to education for so many individuals who can't afford to go to even state colleges or state universities. Um, um, but state colleges and universities don't really often have the capacity to work as intensively with students and as richly with students as some of the larger institutions in the four-year college and university world. So it's that passion of the faculty and the administrators, their commitment to student success, their commitment to equitable opportunity, and their commitment to high quality that inspires me, and that's why I think community colleges count. By paying attention to the student and paying attention to the student's needs, you can accomplish education and rich learning in a very, very varied environment with a range of demographic characteristics: young, old, white, black, Hispanic, immigrant, multilingual environments. And it's working. I mean, the community colleges in this country are the living examples of the fact that it can happen and it can be accomplished. What you have to do is what we're doing. We are not fixing students, we're really fixing institutions. We're redesigning institutions to serve students much better in a complex environment, because they live in a complex world. And that's a great training ground for students at community college. Right now we have 160, and very shortly we'll have 185 community colleges in just under 40 states in the District of Columbia that we're working intensively with. We send coaches to the leadership coaches to those community colleges. We send data coaches to those community colleges. We deliberately work with those colleges to build cultures of evidence and cultures of inquiry, so that they examine what they're doing to students on their campuses to determine what works well and what doesn't, and then redesign what happens in the classroom and the wraparound support that all of these community colleges in our network are attempt to achieve. So think of us as a reform network, and that reform network, we believe, as we learn more and more, and we find practices that really work, we believe that we'll become a knowledge distribution network that can help not only other community colleges in the network of achieving the dream, but community colleges throughout the nation can adopt and replicate the things that we have learned, we believe, very, very effectively. And I think a lot of four-year institutions have a lot to learn from us and will have a lot to learn from us. So my vision is that institutions will transform, become student-centered, and they will redesign programs so that they provide wraparound support, so that the education experience for their students is as rich and as optimal as possible.